put the cord on the door and lock the back door. I love you.
Love you too.
Darn.
Okay. Hi, anybody who's watching. Yep. Getting ready to fire up the forge. I'll be streaming to Facebook here too in a minute. I don't know how well this is going to work with the Facebook stream or the YouTube stream, but we'll find out. Alright. Let's get Facebook going here. Hopefully it'll stream a little nicer. Let's see what kind of signal we can get here. As long as there's smoke, you still got a chance for a fire. smoke I got. Unfortunately, my coals are just a little bit damp. Yes, name her brand new lighter. Alright, I don't know if you can see it on the video or not, but the smoke is all started turning kind of a yellowy brown. That means that the coal's actually starting to gas off a little bit. It's not just a paper burning anymore. I love it when it lights on the first try. Mike, Greg, how's it going? As soon as it gets hot enough, all this smoke is going to ignite. I'm going to get a nice, really hot flame. It's a wee bit colder than I had anticipated today. About 45 right now. I'm not worried though, it's going to get real hot here in a few minutes. There we go. See how that gas burns off now. Catches all the dead leaves on fire too. So I just kind of rake them back in on top of the forge, let them burn off. Just carbon. The thing I gotta watch out for is I get dead leaves all over the place. So if the fire falls out, I gotta make sure it doesn't catch any of the leaves on fire, otherwise I end up having to dump my quench bucket. Then I gotta walk all the way around the house to refill it. Nobody wants to do that. Blacksmiths are lazy people. That's what apprentices are for. I'll have one. Looks like the YouTube stream is kind of working. If you guys want to check it out, it's youtube.com/BurkeJones. Eric, get out there and do it. Fire it up. I'm going to make sure this gets good and hot. It's already glowing red, so I'm probably good. I'm going to get my angle grinder here real quick. I went and picked me up some stock this morning. It's about twice as long as what I actually need. And if I was a good blacksmith, I could have a hot cut and cut that thing in half. But I'm a lazy blacksmith, so I'm going to use my angle grinder and cut it in half. I'm going to use the scientific measuring process of guessing. Alright, good deal. I haven't even hurt myself yet. We're doing great. Sorry, I just took power from my laptop to run my angle grinder. Alright. Now, for those of you on Facebook, I'm going to give you a little closer look at the forge. Hopefully you can kind of see that nice bright orange down there inside. That's where I'm going to be putting my metal. Alright. Now, controlling your fire is probably the most important part about this. That way you get your heat where you want it. You don't build too big a fire. You don't have too small a fire. You want a good soak through your metal so that when you're hitting it, you're not fighting the core of the metal. I'm going to let this soak a little bit. For those that don't know, this is just bituminous coal with a air blower blowing air into the bottom of it. This coal is from the Phoenix coal mine down in Oklahoma, right near Veneta. And you guys are along on an experiment with me today because I don't really know how to make what I'm making, so I'm going to figure it out as I go. Normally when I do a demo or when I'm doing a live stream or something like this, I try and make sure I know what the hell I'm doing beforehand, but we'll figure it out together. Alright, nice and hot. Alright. My anvil's mighty cold, so it's sucking the heat out of my metal pretty darn fast today. I'm just putting kind of a real soft point on the one end of the metal. sorry if you guys are commenting or saying something I can't read from where I'm at, and I'd be happy to answer questions, but it only shows me like the last line or two of text. Alright. Let this end cool just a little bit. It's not quite so red. Okay. You guys can see here, I just put kind of a taper on the end of it. Nothing too fancy. I didn't want it to go super sharp. It's not what I'm after here. I'm going to kind of build the fire up around my piece here. Try and isolate my heat. I like to use my poker to get down in the middle to direct where I want the air to go, which is direct where the heat goes. One thing that Bill Moffat taught me was that controlling your fire is half of forging. You can strike perfect every single time, use the anvil great, but if you can't control your fire and get your piece hot like you want it, then you're wasting your time. It's also the reason why I prefer coal over gas, because I can isolate my heat and make my forging more efficient. Also, overall, as long as you can get a hold of coal in bulk, it's way cheaper than gas. Let's see what we got here. Hi, Brad. Yeah, it's 47 degrees right now in Wichita, and standing this close to the forge, it feels like about 95, 100 degrees. So. I'm rotating my piece every now and then. Keep the heat from all just being on one side. I don't want it to get too hot on one side. I'm also moving my piece back and forth a little bit, try and spread the heat out because I'm trying to put a curve in it. Actually, it's a loop in it. Everything goes well. About the middle of this live stream, Ralph might show up. He and his are on their way down. What do we got here? Hi, James. I know this is the real exciting part, waiting for your metal to get hot. Alright, I got a good bit of metal hot. Put a nice bend in it. Get a good curve going. This guy didn't want to have to move it. So we lucked out onto that blower. There's a blower in the background over here. I don't know if you can see over here. That hand crank blower was one that got reconditioned by Larry Evans, I believe. And uh, no, I'm sorry, he was reconditioning one for Scott, and there was a gear problem, which I'll let him tell that story if he wants to. But and he ended up having this other blower, and I believe Scott bought that one off of him. Uh, I believe we've got one more that's still in pieces that has to get put back together. Woo! Alright, just throwing a little bit of water on the fire to kind of isolate my heat back into the middle where I wanted it. Alright, so we can bend this a little more here. Alright, coming along now. What do we got here? Yeah, blacksmithing is not one of those hobbies that you can just jump into without any kind of equipment or somebody around to help you. Unfortunately, it requires a investment of equipment, or you got to find a club or somebody that can help you get started. Because, like wood burning, you can go buy yourself a cheap wood burner and get started for, less than $50. I mean, you're going to spend a lot more than that if you want nice equipment, but you can get started with cheap stuff. About the cheapest I've seen anybody be able to get into blacksmithing is a couple $100s. Down here in Wichita, we've got the Central State Metal Artisans, which is really nice because every Monday Bill opens up the shop, lets newbies come down, and this is mild. You would not want this for springs for your truck. It would make you very grumpy. No, this is just cheap metal that's lost its certificate. I bought down here at the yard store. It is a little springy, but not enough for truck springs, that's for darn sure. Alright. Get this cooled off a little bit. Actually, Sin, you get. James, I've made a lot of the tools that I'm using. I made the shovel. I made my poker. I made my rake. Uh, I've made a hot cut. I've made a hold down tool. Uh, Basically, I make tools as I need them for whatever job that I'm doing. Alright, we're going to put this last bend in here. Okay, I've got about, 2 or 3 inches there on the end of that I don't really need. I'll just cut that off with an angle grinder because I'm too lazy. So. Still a little one. Alright, for those of you who don't know, Sin, I'm sure you can attest to this. When somebody says something is warm, it might be too warm to pick up, it might not be. If a blacksmith says something is warm, don't pick it up. You have no idea how many times I've seen little kids come up and Bill's handling something and he sets it down and they're like, ooh, let me see, and they reach for it and they grab it and it's a world of hurt. It's even worse when an adult does it because they got no damn excuse. He told them it was hot. They should know better. It just came out of a fire. Alright. Use my angle grinder here again. I don't think that cutman's gonna do it. Too worn. Be right back. Nobody got time for that. Alright. You guys see this okay? I'm gonna move my camera down. Has a tool he calls a hack and snap. If you've got a power hammer, what it'll do is it'll cut most of the way through it, and then you put it underneath the edge of it, and you tap it with a hammer or a power hammer, and it'll shear the rest of it off. And that thing is the coolest damn tool I have ever seen in my life. It's just a little tapered piece of metal that cuts through it one way. When you set it sideways, it shears off the rest of it. Hack and snap. If you ever meet Phil Cox, ask him to see it. Sin, I'm with you. Whatever tools are right for the job. Alright. So, I'm going to cold dress this just a little bit. Take off some of these rough edges. Alright. Now I'm going to have to go after this thing like crazy with a wire wheel because I didn't get my brush on it while it was still hot. Which, as you can see, I've got, well, you can see I got a little bit of flexibility and a little bit of spring, which is what I was shooting for. Now the hard part, that I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. Let's see if I can take this piece of metal and cut me a piece that looks like it's supposed to. Got me a brand new pair of snips. I'm excited about that. The snips I had were kind of old, and these caught my eye this morning when I was getting material. If you don't live in Wichita, well, that sucks, but if you do live in Wichita, there's a store here called The Yard, and they are a surplus aircraft parts and material store. They are awesome. You can buy metal fairly cheap. Most of it is good metal that's just lost its certificates. They can't use it for aircraft anymore. They've got all kinds of great quality tools. They've got all kinds of cheap stuff too. If you're just looking for a cheap tool that you want to tear apart, turn into something else or whatever. So, now I took a safety pin and played with it a little bit to kind of see what it looked like. I'm going to do my best to emulate how one works. However, I'm working with a lot thicker metal, and I don't have a nifty jig like they use to bend their tool, their metal. I wish I did, but by the way, aluminum sheet metal at the Yard is probably 24 by 36, $6, not bad. All right. So, I don't know if you've ever taken apart a safety pin before, the 11 people that are watching, but you got two kind of butterfly pieces here on the top, and then it kind of narrows out, which is the part that wraps around, and then it flares back out, mostly on one side to give you that little bump there in the hook. So, I am going to kind of wing it here. And if winging it doesn't work, then I'll actually draw it out and try it the right way. Alright, so far so good. Extra. Now, if I was a smart fella and wasn't winging it, I'd have gone through and measured the diameter of my bar and figured out my wraparound, but like I said, I'm winging it. I'm going to go through with a Dremel or a grinder or something and clean all these edges up later. I'm just kind of doing my proof of concept at the moment. Although, I do have one little bit here I don't like, so I'm trying to get off with the snips. And broke my file off my tool. Okay, so we're going to start off by just kind of shaping this. Move my camera down so you can see. I'm just using the horn of the anvil to kind of start my bend here. I have no idea what this aluminum actually is, otherwise I'd heat it up. But sometimes aluminum doesn't do so well when you heat it. I'm just going to be real gentle with it and see if I can cold form it. I say real gentle while I'm pounding on with a hammer, but you know what I mean. I think I'm going to have to hook the end of this here, up here at the top, because I don't think I got enough room for my bend where I can cut more off. Actually, I'm not left-handed. I'm relatively ambidextrous when it comes to blacksmithing, but You guys seeing everything okay? So bright outside with my safety glasses on, I can't really tell what you guys can see and what you can't. Alright, I got my heat isolated pretty well here. Let's see if I can get that bent around. Alright, we're going to try the vise. Well, the good news is the vise pinched it exactly like I wanted it to. Bad news is, as soon as I started forming it, it just tore the aluminum all to shit. So, I'm not sure if this is going to be possible without a jig. And I don't plan on making enough of these to develop a jig. So that kind of sucks. This is the stuff you guys usually don't see because I don't do demos and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But that's okay. I suppose I've got more metal that I could try. I could just flatten that out and draw it out and turn it all into one piece and not try and put the other bit on there. What the hell, let's try it. One piece safety pin. whole bunch of aluminum plate. I don't know what the hell to do. We will find a use. Anybody still watching these ramblings? Wow. 10 of you are still watching me. You like a train wreck you can't look away from? Just kidding. Well, looks like I got 2 viewing on YouTube. That's alright. Facebook's more fun. You know what they say? Experience is what you get when you didn't get what you wanted. I'm using the rounding side of my rounding hammer to try and spread the metal better than if I was just using the flat. A lot of people would go in with a cross peen and kind of fishtail that open in the middle, but I'm not a big fan of the cross peen. I don't like the marks that it leaves, and I'm not delicate enough with my blows to finesse it open. I'm not building up my fire very big right now because that piece is getting real thin. If I build too much fire, I'll just end up burning it off. Sun's coming out, getting a little warmer. buff it up a little bit. But this has been our blacksmithing demo for the day. Thank you, Martin.